It looks like it's so if you're actually 1 hour ahead, so essentially now it's 9:30 a.m. your time, or it's 10:30, which we that's very well in purpose. And that's possible. You just go on the ground and safer and right now. We should have it is here is hospital. Order to be so okay. No problem. Supplements here for you, obviously, just so you remember, we spoke with my name once again is Matthew. Definitely call me Matt short. Once again, I am one of the general managers. Next thing is simply just a date. So I was meeting you some more here is Wednesday. And this will be here at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, which on your end in Ohio that would be 10:30. And then Connor, you'll be meeting with our managing director. I'll give you his name. It's this. And his last name is the same. So that's MASSARI. So there's some kind of picture be any of that for you. So now let's go down your eye. You, I believe for that webinar. Yeah, so that was Mr. Tommy Vina. He's actually our CEO. He's the state director of. No problem. You did have all that information I wrote you. I'll be very simple. All right, for this verifying one, you have your email as fundstalks@yahoo.com. Is that correct? Okay, current point can expect your Connor shortly after this phone call in the next 5 minutes or so. I will be sending you out this simple. Alright. Obviously, that's why I'm here for always after this flip line, each of their science slow lines. At 9:30 a.m. Central, 30 Eastern. All of you require is that Connor today, when you receive that email prior to your scheduled interview tomorrow, just make sure you respond back with the section with a current copy of the person. That way yourself and the students there podcast reference it, your interview, and also we have your time slot for that purple. Okay. That's all perfect. And this does go without saying, sure, you probably won't. Obviously, even though there's business professional attire is absolutely a requirement. I only throw that out there for since we've had a lot of candidates hop on the call and it looks like they're about to go to the beach. I'm gonna be honest with you. No, obviously, the last question. I'm sure you saw. With us obviously in the sense that we were as for members, we lost how the fiduciary responsibility, of course. State licenses are required to just live wait, I'm getting to these as well. We'll shoot right on. Potentially that are required for this type of decision, if you get elected. So that's very, very good. Yeah. Gotcha. Yes. It does vary per state, so Mr. Sarah will definitely clarify that specifically for you tomorrow, but yes, each state is a little bit different. I do obtain licenses from Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Michigan, I think a few more, so I believe Ohio on the top of my head is actually like a relatively watch.
Good morning, Miss Lisa. How are you?
It's fine, and you?
See, but back the volume up here. All right, I can hear you. Morning, Jennifer.
All right, you as well.
Good morning.
That is in here. Okay. Morning, Beck. Morning, Edgar.
Hey, hey.
Obviously, it'd be great if we're doing it much. They are not. This is the same way here people. We never change the subject. But there's agreement. Yeah, I do. I'm never gonna. I really want to. I know that. Very interesting years, but rich years, but more about you good. Go on, you guys, right now, you should. I wanted to pose in there, so. Marissa, Rich, welcome, welcome. Give everyone a minute or so hopping on here. I'm in for 2. Can you guys hear me well? Yeah, okay, because I'm not using the speaker, I'm using the actual camera. So hopefully it works well.
You sound great.
Great. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, just a couple new people popping in here and we get started. See if we can do this, put everybody in the classroom. How's that? Now some teaching. I don't want to take it this. I think it's a little too distracting.
Okay. That is awesome. That is so awesome. I love it.
Now everybody in class learning. I love it. Let's go. All right. So I'll let some people trickle in. But today, guys, with Sales Coffee, I'm really only going to give you basically like five points of advice to keep you on top of your game. And then I'll give you some like personal advice and things that I've learned going through the last 5 years of this career. Okay. The first thing I want to focus on is basically 5 things to keep you on top of your game. Okay. And they're not anything crazy. It's nothing you haven't heard of before, but more or less it's just reiterating it, making sure that it's a daily task. So it's something that you do every day, right? I don't know why I'm signed out. That's okay. All right. So the first thing we want to focus on to stay on the top of your game is focus on input to get the output. So focusing on your input. In this business right now, input is phone calls, door knocks, any kind of activity we can get, right? One little small thing that I want to mention to you guys here is don't be afraid every month to put something out on social media, to put a post on Instagram or a post on Facebook telling people what you do, right? Now, I don't want you to say, hey, I sell life insurance. If you need life insurance, come here. I want you to be a little bit more, slick about it. I want you to give more people more information on it and let them know that we handle union members' benefits. But for the next couple of days, we're actually opening up the benefits to the rest of the community, right? Something like, normally what we do is we handle union members' permanent benefits. When they quit, fire, retire from work, all those benefits get to go away. So their union president contracts with our company to make sure their union members keep their benefits. We have a very unique opportunity over the next couple of days to help out some of my family and friends with some of the same union benefits, except you don't have to be in the union, right? You kind of want to make it mutually exclusive to the union so that those people that you're reaching out to don't just think, hey, I'm just trying to, sell life insurance to somebody, right? You want to kind of have a deeper conversation before you get into that, right? And I do this about once a quarter. I post something on Facebook, and you can even steal my post if you see it, because I probably stole from somebody else. And usually what I do is I go to Google, I search life insurance, and then I find a picture that explains how life insurance works, and then I write a little note and I post it on my Facebook page. Right? You'll get 5-10 responses. You might have to weed through those responses to find some really serious people. But at the end of the day, that's another presentation, another person you can see without having to use your leads. Being resourceful, right? Think about it. How many friends do you have on your Facebook page? 300, 400, 500 people, maybe more, right? And if you put it on your page, they're all going to see it. And if they comment on it, their friends are going to see it. So you're just reaching out to thousands of people at that point. And all it took was 10 minutes from you to type up something, find a picture and post it. Now, don't be discouraged if you don't get, responses within the first 10, 15 minutes, hours, 2 hours. Let people look at it for a little while, right? And what's crazy is a lot of people that come in here are kind of afraid to tell people what we do. They're afraid to say, I do life insurance. You should never be afraid to say our company's name and the fact that we help people with life insurance. In my honest opinion, there's no better profession out there. Because honestly, what we're doing, guys, is we're protecting people's families when the worst situation happens. You got to remember that. We're not selling somebody a vacuum cleaner that sweeps up garbage. We're not selling something like that. Like, our product is so much better than anything else out there. Right? The more you realize that, and the more your value and your belief is in that, the more people are going to see that. Right? So what I want you to focus on is the numbers, right? So ALP is a byproduct of output, or of the work, sorry. ALP is the byproduct of the work, right? So the input is the work, the input is the phone calls, the door knocks, the strategic Facebook posts or Instagram posts, right? ALP is the output from that, right? You got to commit to the process of hitting those numbers, right? So break down what you have to do every week. Break it down per appointment, per sale, per phone call, right? You guys should all know the averages of the company. About $30 it takes to set one appointment, right? Company show ratio about 40 to 50%. Closing ratio about 30 to 40%, right? Average ALP about 800 to 900 ALP. So with all of that, you guys can figure out how many phone calls you have to make to get the appointments you want to get to the sales, to get to the ALP. Just work it backwards, right? And one of the toughest things about this business, especially for people who are new in their first 90 days, is hearing the word no. Guys and ladies, nobody wants to hear the word no. Nobody does, right? But unfortunately, what we do, typically 2 out of 3 times, someone is going to tell you no. What really helped me get through this was what I did was I kind of did some mental gymnastics. So I flipped my thinking to where every time that someone tells me no, I make this much money. Every time someone tells me yes, I make this much money. So it's so much easier to get those no's out of the way when down the road, I'm still going to make money from them telling me no. Does that make sense? Right. So let's say, you wrote 1,000 ALP, right? And you had 3 presentations. Well, if the person that told you yes was 1,000 ALP and the person that told you no 2 times was 0 ALP, you basically know there's 3,300 ALP in the no there, 3,300 ALP in the no there, and then 3,300 ALP in the yes there. Right? Oh, so I see here. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, kind of flipping your thinking around. Right? That's what really helped me when I was kind of struggling when I first started. Because I was looking at a no as I was failing. Right? You can't think about it that way. That's going to make it worse for you. You're just going to dig yourself into a deeper hole if that's the way you're thinking. Right? So that was number 1. Number 1 is focus on the input to get out. Right? Number 2 is revisit goals and visions every single day. Right? So this comes down to your why. Why do you want to do this? Right? It goes vision first, then goals, then action plan. Right? You can't do the action plan unless you know what your goals are. And you can't have any goals unless you create the vision for that. Does that make sense? The vision comes first. Right? And the word vision
means to see, right? So in order to see your vision, you got to have it in front of you, right? What I used to do when I first started, because my main goal, my big why when I was first here, was to make sure that when my father retired, he had a place to live. The man was 70 years old, moving from buddies' houses to houses because he couldn't afford a place to live. At 70, he worked his ass off for 45 years as an independent contractor within a construction company. Right? Didn't have pension set up, didn't have savings set up, right? And at that point in his life, he needed a place to live. He's 70 years old. So my big why when I started this was to make sure that I could afford a place to pay for it, right? So what I did was I kept a picture of him in my car every single day when I rode out to the field. And every day I looked at him and I realized that I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for somebody else. So that made my belief level increase and made my grind level increase, because it's easier to do something for somebody than it is to do it for yourself, right? Getting that extra motivation to wake up every morning, knowing that I'm not just bettering me, I'm bettering somebody else's life too, right? So find your why, get a picture of it, and either stick it to in your car, or if you're doing it virtual at the house, stick it on the wall right behind the computer screen. Always have it in front of you, right? That is going to make sure that every time you see that it brings that feeling out. Because if we're realistically thinking here, guys, there's 365 days in a year, right? About a third of those days, you're not going to feel good. You're not going to feel like you want to do anything. You're going to be less motivated. Two-thirds of that, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to function, do what you need to do, have the motivation you need. I'm not talking about those days. I'm talking about the third of those days where you don't feel great. You don't feel like going to work, right? Number one, remember, we get to do this. We don't have to do this. We get to do this. And number two, you got to remember why you're doing it. Having your why in front of you laid out with a picture or words, I can't express how big of a thing that is. Like, I really can't. It really pushed me toward what I needed to go get, because I've visually seen it every single day, right? So with your goals and your action plan, you have to figure out where you're going, right? Have a defined 30 days, a defined 90 days, a defined 1 year, a defined 5 years, right? Now, the 1 year and the 5 year don't have to be as detailed as the 30 and the 90 days, right? Because you have some time. But at the end of the day, you still want to have a goal set in place and a vision for that 1 year and that 5 year, right? So after you figure out where you want to go, you got to figure out how you're going to get there. That's where your leadership team comes into play. That's where your upline comes into play. Ask us. Say, Drew, I need help on vision casting. I need help on planning out my month, right? I'll take the time out of my day to sit down with you and work that out. The guys on my team know that I do that all the time, right? Your leaders will do the same thing for you. In fact, they want to do that. Like, I want to do that for you, right? Because if I know the plan that we've set in place, I can coach you up to that plan because we came up with it together, right? So just like I said, the number two thing is having a constant vision and a constant reminder on why you're doing this. Having the daily motivation to do this, right? We all talk about mind, body, and spirit, right? Those are three things you definitely need, right? But I think the most important thing, oh, it's in the waiting room. What are you talking about? The most important thing is having that picture or that vision, so it pushes you forward toward that goal on those days when you don't feel like doing this, right? All right, so number three of the 5 things I'm going to go over is every sale that you guys make, you need to roll at least one referral or collect at least 2 insurance referrals from that. This is where VIBs comes into play, right? Asking for insurance referrals. The best way to do it is with VIBs, right? But if you're going through the presentation and at the end, you're going over, the solidification and the rated risk, the last thing out of your guy's mouth really should be VIBs, collecting insurance referrals. Mary and Joe, right? I know that we went over a lot of very important information here for you today, right? Hopefully you saw some value and some benefit from sitting down with us here today. You did great. So with that being said, I would like to ask you a very important question, right? With your permission, what I would like to do is brainstorm with you for some of your framing members and friends who would benefit from sitting down with me as well, right? So, maybe your brother or your sister that just had 2 kids, right? Let's make sure that we get them the same program that you guys apply for, right? You want to throw some suggestions out there, right? Saying something to get insurance referrals is better than saying nothing every single time, right? I grew up in a house with a family of 6 boys, right? And this rings very true to me. Closed mouth does not get fed. Especially when you're growing up in a big family. If you got a problem, if you got issues, if there's something going on, you have to let your parents know, or you're not going to get the resolve of that issue, right? And you had to be fast in our family. If you wanted to eat, you had to be fast. You had to get to the table quick. You had to get your food quick. You had to eat it fast so you can get some leftovers, right? So rolling referrals and collecting insurance referrals is one of the easiest ways to guarantee your success. Because you did all the hard work of sitting down with that union member and that family, and you were able to help them out. Maybe 2 hours you sat down with them. What is an extra 10 minutes to talk to them at the end and collect a few extra referrals? Spend 10 minutes collecting referrals so that you don't have to spend 3 hours on call night calling leads. Use your time more effectively. Save yourself some sanity. We all hate calling through the leads, making 100 phone calls and no one picks up. That sucks, right? If you call 50 referrals, I guarantee you 25 are going to pick up and you'll probably set 15 of them. So work smarter, not harder. Now, I know that's nothing mind-blowing, guys. I know it's nothing crazy. It's nothing new, right? But what's new is you have to implement it. You have to start doing it, right? We can all say, oh, that's great. Let's roll referrals all day, but it's not going to come to fruition until you actually do it in the presentation. And just remember, if it's something new that you're doing, we can't expect the most success out of that until we've done it over and over and over again. It's just like the presentation. You have to keep doing it over and over and over again, right? Just remember, the greats in this business have failed more than you have even attempted, right? Just keep that in mind. All right, number four on the 5 things to keep you on top of your game. This is a big one. I'm a very big fan of this one, right? Number 4 is pick somebody or something and start to compete, right? That person doesn't even have to know you're competing with them. If you want them to know that you're competing with them, even better, right? Even better. So what I mean by that is pick somebody that's going through the same situation you're going through, right? Pick a new agent who was on a different team. You don't have to go and tell them, hey, I'm competing against you this week, but just know in the back of your mind that you're going against them, right? And what's going to help you as an agent is tell your manager who you picked out. Like, just for instance, Angel's on my team. If Angel wanted to pick out somebody from, let's just say, I don't know, Gio's team, and let's just say him and Edgar. Let's just say Angel wanted to go against Edgar this week. Well, what I would do for Angel every week or every day is I would send him a picture of Edgar. Here's your competition, bro. Right? Just a daily constant reminder of that mentality you have to go through. Right? Now, guys, I'm not saying be competitive to the point where you're like slashing each other's tires in the parking lot or anything like that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is we were all hired here because we're competitive, right? Now, there's two different types of competitive people out there, right? I want you to realize that. There's a type of people who love to win, right? And then there's a type of people that hate to lose. I want the person that hates to lose, because typically they're not satisfied with a win. Somebody who loves to win is satisfied with the win. That's the people that go out there and they have 7 appointments on their schedule. They see the first person, they sell them, they forget about the rest of the schedule. Believe me, there's people out there who do that, guys. Don't let it be you. Push through the rest of that day. You got 1 enrollment. What's stopping you from getting 2 or 3? You are. That's who's stopping you. Right? And everybody that was brought in here is very competitive. And that's what makes an agency successful. That's what makes the culture successful. Is that competitive nature, that ability to mentally get in competition with somebody. Right? And get ready for the competition, guys, because in September sickness, we're having a bracket style playoff. Best agent wins. Right? Is it going to be the females again? Because last time we did this in March, the final 4 was all females and Josh. Right? So they're going to keep killing this business, ladies. Let's see it. I think so, to be honest with you. Right? So you got to be the person that hates to lose. You have to have that mentality. Have to. That's the only winning mentality here. You have to hate to lose. Because your losses are going to push you forward further than your wins. Right? You learn more in a loss than you ever learn in a win. Right? So the last thing of the 5 things to keep you on top of your game, and this is something that everybody says, but it's 100% true. Think bigger. Think bigger. Right? Small thinking is going to get you small results. Right? The one tip I want to give you guys here, I don't know if you guys have seen the book, have read the book, have seen the film, but there's a book and a film called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Okay? It is a great, I used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it still is on Netflix, but it's a great mindset tool for you guys as agents and as people in general. The underlying theme of that book is that thoughts become things, right? Thoughts become things. So what that means is everything's created twice, right? It's created one time in your mind, and then it's created the second time in reality, right? What you think about, what you manifest in your brain tends to happen out in the world, right? So are you putting bad thoughts in your brain? Are you talking negative to yourself? Right? One thing that helped me with my mindset was a daily affirmation. Right? A daily affirmation of myself. You know, the things that are good about me, the things I like about me, things that I'm going to do today. Right? What I used to do is I used to write that down on a piece of paper every morning when I woke up, because it got me in the right mood to get to work. I was putting positivity in my brain right off the bat. Right? Things that I am good at, things that I think I'm proficient at. Right? It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters what you think about yourself. Right? Self-confidence is a huge thing in this business. I can see the best people come in here, and if they're not confident, they're not closing anything. because their belief level isn't there. All right, so your self-confidence ups your belief level. So having a very confident you when you're going through this, it speaks volumes. I can't tell you how important it is to build your self-confidence up. Now, sometimes it's tough. You're gonna have a bad week, you're gonna have a bad day, but you can't let it be a bad month because of that. You got to correct it. And a lot of it just starts with positive daily affirmation. Right? If you need to, there's apps out there that'll give you daily motivation. Check the group me, guys. Every single morning in the group me, there's some positive motivational video in there. Right? I'm not saying sit down and watch every single one of them, but what I usually do is I get in the shower. I get in the shower and I pop it on and I listen to it while I'm in the shower. I'm getting my brain mentally ready for the day. Because it doesn't matter if you're going to have a good day or a bad day when you first start. Just know that you're going to have to do some mental gymnastics to get your day better. The first thing you should do, though, like I said, mentally and positively reinforce yourself. Right? So those are the big 5 things that would keep you on top of your game. Once again, focus on input to get output. Review goals and visions daily. Every sit, 1 rolled insurance referral or 2 insurance referrals collected. Take somebody or something and compete with them. And 5 is think bigger. Right? Do yourselves a favor. Go either look at that book or watch the video or watch the movie on The Secret by Rhonda, Byrne. Okay? I think it's only like an hour and a half, the film. It's not too long. I didn't read the book. I've seen the film. But the book itself, I assume, can't be much longer, to be honest with you. And it's such a good learning tool because it gives you real world examples of things that happened in the past. And it just puts everything into light. I really enjoyed it. Right? I've seen it 2 or 3 times when it was on Netflix. Right? And it was one of the first things that I watched when we started the agency here about a year and a half ago, when we were going through this like crazy shift in the pandemic. Because my mindset was all over the place. I didn't know what we were doing, where we were going, right? We just moved out here. So what I did was I focused on me, focused on the things that I can control, my mindset. So I got that to where it needs to be so that if anything comes down the road, we have, bad things happen. We got to switch over to virtual. We have to learn a whole new system. That's okay because I know that I'm the best version of myself and I can get through it. Right? So the last thing I want to go over is just a few tips of advice on things that help me in the business and help me in presentations. Right? So one of the first biggest things is tie downs. Are you guys using enough tie downs in your presentations? Right? Getting them to give you small yeses throughout the whole presentation. Larry and Joe, that makes sense why they set that up for you, right? Can you see why many members are excited about this benefit? That makes sense to you, right? The way they set that up makes sense to you, right? Framing the question so that they can only tell you yes. Right? Getting them to give you very small yeses throughout the whole presentation so that at the end, when you're saying, now, Joe, all of this coverage, it's only going to be about $220 a month. Is that comfortable for you there? We could always adjust it a bit. Yeah, that's comfortable. Right? That big yes at the end is going to be so much smaller because I've been telling you yes over and over and over again. Now, there's a downside to this too, guys. Don't get to the point with tie downs to where they're just like, yep. Like, act like you didn't hear them 1 or 2 times. What was that, Joe? Did you say yes? Right? Because if they just keep telling you yes, they're not really paying attention. And at the end, they're going to have questions in the forms of rebuttals. Just remember, guys, if they ever have rebuttals or, the rebuttals are basically the best thing to call it with. But if you ever have rebuttals or anything like that, just know that it's not them telling you no, it's just that they need more information. They need to figure it out. All right, so don't be off put by that. Just go with it, and then you'll be able to here we go. Then you'll be able to walk them through everything. Just remember, rebuttals are just questions that they have that haven't been answered yet. Okay. All right. The second piece of advice I want to give you guys is generally people don't remember numbers. They don't. What they do though is they remember how you made them feel. Right? They don't remember the numbers of everything, but they do remember how you made them feel during the presentation. Did you listen to them? Were you paying attention to the words that they're saying? Right? They're going to remember those things. That's why when I sell, I don't sell based off of numbers, because people are going to forget the numbers. What I sell is I base it off of concept. The concept of final expense protection, the concept of income protection, making sure his paycheck comes into the house every single month when he doesn't anymore. Right? The more you sell on concept and on feeling and on emotion, the better time you're going to have, because numbers typically confuse a lot of people as well. And I don't want you to throw 1,000 different numbers out there and then be like, I don't know, I got to think about it. Right? That's you can when you tell them they need to think, or when someone tells you they need to think about it, take that as you confuse them, because you probably did. Right? And if they do tell you they need to think about it, you can just be really blunt with them sometimes and ask them, you know, what is there to think about? Is it me? Is it the company? Is it the product? Is it the benefits? What is it? What do you guys need to think about? All right, be real with them. Ask real questions. We got Marissa in here twice. All right. You got to find out what's important to them. So the next thing is, I want you guys to realize there's 2 cheat codes to this business. Anybody out there play video games? No? All right, a couple people, right? So I'm sure you guys know what cheat codes are, right? You put a little cheat code in and it gives you, you know, invincibility, or all the guns unlocked, or I don't know, you could run faster, jump higher, whatever, right? You know what cheat codes are. There's 2 cheat codes to this business. The first cheat code is referrals. They're going to make you run faster. They're going to get you through the business quicker. You're going to put more business on the books because you have more people to go see, more qualified people to go see. Right? Referrals are one of the biggest cheat codes in this business. And to be honest with you, your script and the leads are designed for you to collect referrals. If you're not collecting referrals, you're doing this deal wrong. Just telling you, you're going to make it harder on yourself. Now, the other cheat code is referrals, or sorry, recruiting. I don't have a referrals already. The second cheat code is recruiting, right? That's going to make you jump higher. You're going to be able to get higher up in the business. You're going to be able to jump from an SA to a GA to an MGA quicker because you're personally recruiting. You're bringing people on the team to work your deal, right? So open your mouth, recruit in the house, recruit outside, right? There was a guy back in the old agency where we used to work, and he had a great piece of advice that to this day I still try to follow. What I try to do is I try to keep 3 pennies in my right pocket, right? And the only way I can transfer the pennies from my right pocket to my left pocket is for me to start a conversation with somebody. Either talk to them about the deal, either they need life insurance, they know somebody that needs life insurance, or they need a job. One of those 3 things is going to happen with generally everybody you talk to, right? And it doesn't have to be, bird just flew into that window. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, guys. All you got to do is start off. Here's typically the easiest way to do this. Start off by complimenting them on something. Hey man, those are some nice shoes you got on there. Or hey man, that's a very nice car you're driving. Start off with a compliment and work it from there. A lot of the time when people are scared to approach people, they just don't know what to say up front. Well, what am I going to say to them? Just compliment them. Hey man, you look sharp today. Appreciate that. What do you do for work? Oh, okay, right? It's easy to get into it at that point. So recruiting and referrals, guys, 2 cheat codes to this business. Use them. All right. One of the other things that helped me out is I used to visualize before I ever sat down with somebody how the presentation is going to go. When my train of thought when I was out in the field, and I still do it to this day, is about half an hour before the meeting. If you have time, half an hour before the meeting, what I do is I'll take 5 minutes, I'll close my eyes, and I'll just refresh my brain on what happened in my last sale, what I did right, my tone, my personality, my voice inflection, my energy, right? The things I can control. I figure out how, in the words that I said, how it affected them. And because it affected them in a certain way, I got the sale, right? I try to visualize that every time I get into a new situation. And then I take about 2 to 3 minutes to visualize how the last sale went. And then I take another 3 to 5 minutes to visualize how the next sit's going to go. So I positively forecast it in my brain. I'm thinking, and what I do is I usually say their name a bunch of times. Joe and Mary, 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 right? And I saw like one of them we're going to do, we're going to hop on the screen together. I'm going to get their confirmation number. We're going to build some rapport. I'm going to ask them some questions. All right. And I'm going to let them know a little bit about what we do. Right. I'm walking mentally through the presentation in my brain. And I'm only vision casting positive results. I'm not there thinking, oh man, this guy's old. You know, he probably doesn't know anybody with referrals. He probably has life insurance already. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm giving all the positives. I'm putting positive reinforcement in my brain there, right? Because once again, thoughts become things. Think it, right? Now, I don't know if you guys and girls are doing this or not, but this is probably the biggest piece of advice that helped me out, was comparing what we have to something tangible that they do, right? This is why in rapport you need to figure out recreation, what they like to do for fun. Because the product we have is not tangible. It's not a physical item. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, right? So what I do is I compare that feeling and emotion to something tangible. The easiest, guys, if they're a tobacco user, compare it to cigarettes. Compare the price of the coverage to the price of a pack of cigarettes. Right? Compare, I mean, I've been in houses where the guy was a collector of board games. So we're looking at an armoire with 50 to 100 board games on there. They buy one every single week. Right? So Joe, this coverage is about $35 a month for you, or I mean $35 a week. So that would be basically like getting one less board game, every month. So comparing what they do for fun to something that they need. Right? So at the end of the day, you're just reshuffling their priorities, if that makes sense. Because a lot of people understand the value of life insurance. They understand they need it. But what they don't understand is where it fits into their priorities at. Right? You gotta realize where their priorities are. So if their priorities are, making sure their family has food on the table and that their kid has money to go play baseball and softball, right? You got to realize that all that stuff is important to them. Nothing that they do recreation-wise is more important than their family. Nothing. easier and the quicker you get them to realize that, the better time you're going to have. The more knowledge you're going to be able to help them obtain, the better coverage they're going to get, right? The better time they're going to have with you and the more information they're going to get out of the meeting. Right? So always compare coverage to tangible things. Always. Right? So this coverage right here is about $17 a week. Or, maybe you take your family out to the movies one less time a month. Right? Now, next thing is handling objections, specifically if they have life insurance already. So I'm sure you guys have been in a presentation where they're like, they see the first slide, and they're like, American Income Life Insurance. Oh, I already have life insurance. I don't need this. Right? I'm sure it's happened. It's happened to me. Right? But one thing I don't do is I don't freeze there and say, oh, presentation's done, see you later, and I walk off. It's not what happens. I say, okay, it's great that you have coverage. It's great you already have coverage. You're just going to make my job a little bit easier. We're going to be able to get through this a little bit quicker. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. People like easy. People like fast. Tell them you're going to make it easier on them and you're going to make it quicker. They're like, oh, okay, cool. We'll be good. Right? Don't ever fear that the time you're spending with them is wasting their time, because it's not. You're not wasting their time. You're giving them benefits that they need. Right? So I always tell people to keep it pushing, keep it rolling. When you have somebody that says, oh, I already have life insurance, I don't need this. Is this life insurance? Yeah, yeah, we do have some additional benefits for you. I don't even know if you'd be able to qualify for them, honestly. But my job really is to walk you through how it all works with what you already have. Right? And I don't want you guys to be on the defensive right there. I don't want you to go, oh, you already have life insurance? What kind of life insurance do you have? Who's it through? What company? How much you pay for it? What's the value of it? You should never do that in the beginning of the presentation. Because you didn't demonstrate that you're the professional. You didn't build up your knowledge base yet. They don't see you as a professional right then and there. The time to talk about their life insurance comes after you describe term and hold of them. After you make yourself the expert, then you can dig into their life insurance. Right? And the one common mistake people make when they're talking about someone else's life insurance is they kind of beat it up a little bit. Right? If you know they have a term policy through like Primerica or something like that, don't beat the hell out of it right then and there. Right? Commend them. Say, Mary and Joe, you've done a fantastic job of getting your life insurance started. What we're going to do today is finalize a program for you. Right? You're going to say the words like what we're going to do today, what we're going to accomplish today, what your union wanted you to have done today. Right? Sense of urgency, what we're going to do today. Right? So make sure that you're the expert before you talk about their life insurance. And commend them on it. I would say commend and spend. Commend them on what they have, then spend it. Right? And then the last thing I got is just the basic structures of a presentation. Some people, if you've done this long enough, you're going to feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I can just hop into a presentation and we'll be good. Might be the case. Might be the case. But you should always prepare like it's the first sit of the day every single time. Even if you've done 3 presentations already today, and this is your 4th one of the day, you still need to prepare like it's the first presentation you're doing. Right? Because people pay for excellence. They don't pay for low grade or basics. Right? So the structure of the presentation should stay the same no matter what type of presentation you're doing. The structure is designed for them to buy you, buy the company, and then buy the product. Right? So I typically say there's about 6 things. There's 6 things in the structure that you need to hit and to make it a good presentation. First thing is rapport, of course, rapport. An easy 10 to 15 minutes of building rapport with them. What they do for fun, with how big their family is, occupation, right? A little bit about yourself in there. You gotta be good at building rapport. The best closers in this business are the best people at building rapport and building a relationship. Make a friend, make a sale, right? The second thing you're going to do is you're going to build trust or gain trust. So you're going to build up the company. Why we're there, the introduction, the no cost benefits, right? Third thing we're going to do is create a problem. Create a problem. That's the needs analysis, right? That's the 4 main reasons why people need life insurance. That's a list of concerns. Fourth thing you're going to do is show and explain a solution to the problem you just created, right? Show them the problem, show them the solution, or create the problem, show them the solution. The fifth thing you're going to do is take it away from them. You can't just give. You got to take it away at one point, right? Because you got to remember the mindset. Everybody wants something they cannot have. Everybody, right? If you tell them this is tough to qualify for, then they're like, oh my God, I'm not a shoo-in anymore. I got to really kind of need this, right? You're creating some doubt in their mind. Right? Taking it away from them is one of the biggest things in a presentation. The biggest parts of a presentation is the takeaway, right? Basically, you're going to show them this nice cookie that you got here. It's great, big, giant chocolate chip cookie, nice and warm, just came out of the oven, right? This cookie looks good, right? And they're like, yeah, this cookie looks great. I'm like, okay, well, I got to take the cookie away because I need to make sure you can qualify for the cookie first. So I'm going to put the cookie in my back pocket, right? And once they're able to qualify for it, guess what? I'm going to take the cookie back out, and I'm not going to give it to them. I'm going to give it to their beneficiaries, right? Because at the end of the day, they're not going to get any of this money. Their family's going to get this money. So you're making it real to them, all right? And then the last thing is collect beneficiaries and ask for the check, right? Get the check. So that's basically all I really got for you guys here today. Just some motivation to stay on top of your game, and just a little bit of advice from me being here for the last 5 years of doing this, both in the field and virtual. So leave like 10 minutes for questions. You guys have any questions at all for me?
Can you go over number 5 just real quick?
5 on what? Structure?
Yeah, at the very beginning. I missed.
Think bigger. So think bigger. I mean, we've all heard it, right? Everyone says think bigger. Freddie Adaya came in here and said think bigger. But the problem with thinking bigger is maybe some people's mentality is busted. They can't think big enough. They don't know how to think big enough, right? So what I recommend for that is the book The Secret, Matt, or the film. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Watch it, read it. There's an audiobook out there. Listen to the audiobook. It's designed to get your mind to think that what you say and the thoughts you put out into the world happen. All right, because it's a real thing. All right. So there wasn't really too much with number 5, Matt. It's more or less think bigger. And my advice, look at that book, The Secret. Anybody else got questions for me?
You said it was The Secret by who?
Rhonda Byrne. Byrne. Anybody else got anything? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the classroom setting we have for you today. Do you think we should do this every time, or you think we should do it with the videos? Yes.
This is cool. Yeah.
This,
Okay.
all the way, this.
It's nice.
All right, cool. Yeah, I found this out about a week and a half ago. They added it to Zoom, and I was able to figure out how to kind of do it. So I think it's pretty cool.
What
Why
is it?
not?
What are they, is it setting in Zoom? What do they call it?
So if you have to be the host to do this, but if you click the top right where it says View, instead of Speaker and Gallery, there's going to be a thing that says Change Immersive View, and then there's a couple of different presets you can do. So there's a classroom like this, there's a boardroom, there's a one-on-one meeting room. There's a couple different ones that they have on here. But it's pretty cool.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, basically the last week of the month, treat it like a win week. Treat it like this is the last month you're going to have in August of 2020 or 2021, because it is. All right, we've all got some big dreams and big goals to accomplish. The only thing that's stopping us is us. Right? The only thing that's stopping us is us making phone calls or driving out to see appointments. Right? So let's put the effort that we can control in today. Remember your numbers, right? But other than that, guys, if you have any questions, shoot me a phone call, text, email, let me know. But it was a pleasure to get to speak to you guys here today. Hopefully you got some good tips from everything, and let's see you implement it, okay?
Thanks a lot. Awesome
See
presentation.
you guys.
Thanks, Drew.
See you guys.